So, what if I told you you could get divorced without ever stepping foot inside a courtroom? It is actually possible. And there's a process that I offer called Kids First Mediation that does precisely that by keeping your kids at the center of all of your decision making around your divorce. I started doing Kids First last year. I was certified in this process that was developed by my dear friend and great divorce coach and mediator, Tina Keys out of Orlando. She actually invented this certification that you can get for this process that she developed because she, like me, saw all the problems, all the places where traditional divorce mediation was really failing families. So with Kids First, it's different. We put kids first. So what that means is you're either going to have your own attorneys or you're both going to have no attorneys. We call that being pro se, which means representing yourself. I am going to be the mediator. And the process is very simple. So the first part is we would have a consultation. My favorite thing is when the couple is able to do the consultation together. I do my consultations by Zoom most of the time. I would say 95% of the time. However, if you'd rather meet in the office for your consultation, that's fine. But my favorite is when both parties can come together. But sometimes it's one party who really wants to start the process, and that's fine too. So during the initial consultation, I just really lay out how it works, explain the process, explain the fees. And then from there, we move on to signing the contract and paying the fee. And you can split the fee. One of you can choose to pay the fee, and then we can negotiate that later at the end of the divorce. It's really up to you. But basically, after we've signed the contract, each one of you will have a one-on-one session with me on Zoom. And this is your opportunity to really talk freely with me without having to worry about maybe saying something that might trigger your spouse. And you can tread into some of the touchier subjects. But it gives me that opportunity to let you speak freely with me, and I get an idea of what your goals are for the outcome. I do that with each of you. And then from there, we set usually 2 to 3 short mediation sessions. So in a traditional divorce case, traditional mediations with lawyers, it's a marathon. You're there from 9 in the morning and they go until sometimes 9 at night, which I find to be a travesty. That is what we offer people to figure out their entire lives, is to sit and all day setting. I find that's overwhelming and that people end up agreeing to things just because they want to be done and they're exhausted. And most people have buyer's remorse the next day. And so I felt a process that puts your divorce into bite-sized, manageable chunks is a much more respectful process. And so what we'll do is we'll have 1 to 2 hour sessions rather than a marathon where we work through each piece. In a Kids First mediation, we start with the parenting plan, because if you're getting divorced in Florida with minor children, you must have a parenting plan attached to your marital settlement agreement. And so what we do is we start there. We start with the kids in mind first. And then as we build all these wins, you'll be surprised with how much you guys do agree on, because if you're already both open to this process, that already tells me that you guys want to be respectful, you want your kids to feel good, and you want to put them first. So it's really going for the low-hanging fruit. We get all of those wins where you guys already agree, and then that helps us when we do get to the stickier points. We've already built in a lot of wins that we're able to use the goodwill that we've established to work through some of the more difficult points. Once we have your parenting plan in place, then we move on to your marital settlement agreement, and that's all your money. That's going to be your child support, your alimony, your division of assets and debts, anything like that. So we will then, having built this rapport with each other, we've gotten used to the process. Now we're moving on to the marital settlement agreement, and we're cooking because we're already used to working with each other and we're getting down these details. During this process, you will have some homework. We're going to give you a financial affidavit to fill out. We are here to help you fill that out if you have issues. And then we're going to use that to build out the marital settlement agreement and work through your issues. So it's really a beautiful process. And then at the end of that, you guys have your divorce done. You did this through a process where you were not at each other's throats, where you weren't posturing, where you weren't spending thousands upon thousands of dollars, stressed out in court, with your lawyers totally taking everything over. It is the most beautiful way to get divorced. And it's something I'm so passionate about offering. So definitely give us a call if you want to learn more about whether or not this is the right fit for your family. The families that I've worked with so far, has really been such a joy for me to get to help them through this process. And at the end of the day, it's just knowing that those kids are the true winners because their parents had enough love for them to be able to say, I'm putting my children first over my own needs in this divorce to make sure at least they're going to be okay. And then we'll figure the rest out from there. It's just nothing makes me feel better about my job than getting to be a part of the Kids First mediation process.